Kia ora, I'm Lisa, the Health Promotion Manager for Coeliac New Zealand, and today I'm going to take you through the Buddy Shopper program. The Buddy Shopper program is developed to support you and your whanau to overcome the celiac challenge of navigating the supermarket and reading the labels on packaged products, particularly when you're newly diagnosed, so that you know whether they're gluten-free or not. So products that are manufactured in New Zealand and Australia can only be labelled as gluten-free if they have no detectable gluten. Here is the Buddy Shopper checklist, and now we'll go through the 5 steps. So step 1 of the Buddy Shopper checklist is looking for a quick indication that the product has either says it is gluten-free, like this one, or has the cross-grain logo. So you don't need to read the labels. If it's got gluten-free or the cross-grain logo, you know it's gluten-free. So step 2, we're looking for an allergen or contain statement to know whether the product is not gluten-free. So if I feel like a drink, I've got the Milo, can't see anything on the front, so I'm going to look at the allergen or contain statement on the back. And I might put my glasses on because most of our labels are pretty tricky to read. And when I look at that, under the contains, it says it contains gluten. So we know straight away that it's not gluten-free. So step 3, if something contains wheat, you need to check because there are 5 wheat exceptions, which means it might be gluten-free. And these are dextrose, caramel colour, glucose, glucose syrup, maltodextrin and corn syrup. So step 4, where we read the ingredient list. So this is where we're looking for those words barley, rye, oats, wheat, spelt or gluten, and we avoid those. Also, food manufacturers put precautionary statements on their packaged foods which indicates a risk of cross-contamination, often in a shared factory site. So if you have a product like, we're looking at some nuts, I look on the back at the ingredient list and it's naturally gluten-free, it only contains pistachios and salt, but the allergen advice does say may be present and includes gluten, and that's because this is made in a shed factory site. So Coeliac New Zealand would say that we should avoid products that have may contain statements. Okay, step 5. So if you've got a tricky label that you are finding really hard to understand, then you should put it back. The other way is to look for further information online or contact the manufacturer. If sometimes labels on a product do change, so it may have been gluten-free, but you should check each time and make sure that it is. Now I've got a product here that's a bit of a tricky one. Okay, I look at the front of the lolly pack, there's nothing on the front to tell me. I go to the allergen statement and it says it contains wheat. Okay, but we know that there's 5 exceptions, wheat exceptions, so I'm going to look through the ingredient list to see if these are one of the exceptions, and the first one is glucose syrup. And we know that glucose syrup is one of the 5 exceptions, so I could think that this product's gluten-free, but when I carry on and read the rest of the ingredient list, I find thickener from wheat, and thickener is not one of our exceptions, so this is not gluten-free. I'll put it back. And a quick bonus step, if you're shopping for medications or your supplements, they do fall under different labelling requirements. So read the label because some of them do contain gluten, and if you're unsure, just go and check with your pharmacist. They're the best person. And now I'd like to introduce you to Anne Bowden, one of our Coeliac New Zealand members, who's going to give you some tips and tricks on how she manages her gluten-free diet.
Hi everyone, I'm Anne, and for breakfast I like cereals. These are easily spotted with the cross-grain logo and gluten-free, so I know I'm safe in that department. I don't even have to read the labels.
And what milk would you have with that?
Well, most people can have dairy, which is naturally gluten-free, but because I'm dairy intolerant, I stick with other alternatives. Just avoid oat milk because that isn't gluten-free.
Okay, and so what could you have for lunch?
I often have sandwiches or wraps, and there's a lot of alternatives available now at the supermarket. Gluten-free breads are not only found on the shelves, but this bread is in the freezer, so look for different places that you can find things. So if you want to get your bake on, you can find alternative bread mixes online, so the supermarket isn't the only place to find gluten-free products.
Okay, and what would be a go-to for dinner for you?
Well, a really easy, quick dinner are these Lee Kum Kee sauces with a stir fry, and I can tell that's gluten-free really easily with the cross-grain logo, but not all of them have the logo on them. This one states that it's gluten-free, so it's a little bit harder to see, but this one actually doesn't state gluten-free or have a cross-grain logo. So I check the back and discover that it's not gluten-free. So if there may be a company that has lots of different products that are gluten-free, just keep looking and checking that all of the products are.
So, and what are you going to take to a barbecue for your nibbles?
Well, for some nibbly bits, I am a chicky fan, but again, read the labels because quite a few aren't gluten-free. And to go with that, I like the classic kiwi dip, but in the early days when I was first diagnosed, I used to use malt vinegar and have found that that is not gluten-free, but a great alternative is white vinegar or a squeeze of lemon juice. And with my dip from the reduced cream, the Cullies have some great range of flavours. Look for the gluten-free label, but again, not all their products are gluten-free, so you can get caught out quite easily.
For many celiacs, particularly in the first weeks of diagnosis, going for your first shop and setting up your pantry can be quite daunting. So we hope that this video and our checklist has been useful. For more information, go to the Coeliac New Zealand website, check out our YouTube channel and Facebook page.